Hi guys, Matt V's Movies back for another video, and today's another chat about physical media. And as the thumbnail says, why collect Blu-ray and DVD now with 4K? What's the point in it? So yeah, let's get into this discussion today on the video. Okay, so yeah, let's get into the subject. So is it worth collecting Blu-ray and DVD anymore? Now we have 4K. Now we have the collector's editions that are coming out. Well, I think so. I do think there's still a place for DVD and Blu-ray. For many years, DVD was the premium format. After it was such a huge leap after VHS, in terms of picture quality. And there's still many people around the world that collect DVD. It's the cheapest format. It's probably the easiest format to get hold of, at a very cheap price. There are still some DVDs, films that aren't available on Blu-ray. They may be coming to 4K, but, there are some films that didn't even come from VHS, even to DVD. But I still think DVD has a place. Yes, okay. New release wise, you're only getting sort of the standard editions now. You don't get the collector's editions like you do for the 4Ks. Blu-rays, Arrow still seem to be doing the collector's editions alongside the 4Ks, so they are catering towards the Blu-ray collector. Whereas a company like Sony, that's sort of producing the Disney stuff, the TV shows, they only seem to be really sort of focusing on the steelbooks 4K with the Blu-ray. They're not catering for the DVD market. They're not catering for the Blu-ray market on its own. You kind of have to go in, for the 4K on its own, which for somebody who's just interested in collecting the Blu-ray, it's a bit of a shame for them. I guess you've got the route that you could sell the 4K discs. If you're not bothered about the 4K, you don't have the equipment to play them on, but it's a bit of hassle, isn't it? Why not just release it on the standard edition in Blu-ray? And I've still got plenty of Blu-rays in my collection and some DVDs which I've kept in the collection. That sometimes I think, is it really worth the upgrade? Do we need everything on 4K? You've got to weigh up, is the upgrade really worth it? Do I want to be sort of double dipping on these films? I already have them on Blu-ray. The picture quality on some of these earlier Blu-ray releases is fantastic. There's no real need to upgrade it unless you really want sort of fancy packaging, which I am guilty of. But this talk isn't really necessarily about me. It's more about the collector, you guys out there, that choose to stick with the Blu-ray format or even the DVD format. And I know there's still collectors out there of DVDs, and hats off to you that you're quite happy with that format. It's still a decent enough picture. You can still enjoy the films. You can even enjoy the surround sound on DVDs. Like I say, I do have some DVDs in my collection. The great thing about DVD now is some of these collector's editions, and I'll show a couple here. You've got the Pulp Fiction, the 2-disc collector's edition. I picked that up from CEX for a couple of quid, I think it was. Really nice. Back in the day, this would have been sort of £20-25 to pick this up. And you can pick these up really cheap now on eBay for a couple of quid. So if you're just getting into collecting, it's a great way to start a collection. Picture quality on here is fine. Okay, it's not going to be razor sharp like the 4K cut. Although not always are they, great transfers. you know, marginal against the Blu-ray. But, you know, this kind of thing that's really great about DVD, that you can pick this sort of thing up for dirt cheap. Same with this one, Big Trouble in Little China. You know, really nice edition. I watched this on DVD not that long ago, and I found it perfectly great to watch. You know, to be honest, I don't necessarily see the need to upgrade this. I'm really happy with this edition. It's got special features on it. You know, I think it's got a 5.1 track, 4.1. Oh, that's unusual, but you know, it still sound great on my sound system. So yeah, you know, it's not always needed to necessarily upgrade everything. Again, Blu-rays, got a nice edition of Skyline there with a nice lenticular. I don't know whether this has got a 4K release or not, but you know, say if, I don't know, one of the boutique labels decided to create you know, a 4K collector's edition of this, I don't know whether I'd necessarily upgrade it, to be honest. You know, I enjoy the film. It's got a nice lenticular. Do I need it necessarily on 4K? I'm not too sure. You know, it depends on the packaging, I guess. But yeah, you know, I'm perfectly happy with this at the moment, and I can always go back to it. You know, it's great picture quality, great sound, 5.1 DTS. You know, so yeah, you know, why necessarily upgrade this? And the other thing, again, some of these editions, this is a Blu-ray edition of the film Elysium. This is a Japanese edition. Now, this is the only Japanese edition I have in the collection. Usually these are quite expensive to pick up. Generally, most things that are sort of physical media Japanese, like the laser discs, generally still hold their value. I'm sure there are some DVDs that, you know, Japanese releases which still command, you know, a good price, but I managed to pick this up for a very reasonable cost. It's mastered in 4K. Now, admittedly, I do have the Amaray version of this film on 4K, but I actually picked that up before I sourced this one. I mainly picked this up because of the alternate artwork, and again, for me, you know, because I like the packaging, there were releases done on Blu-ray and on DVD with some great artwork, you know, great packaging, like I've just shown with the DVD. So as a collector, if I really enjoy the film, then I'm going to think, well, you know, I'm quite happy to pick up a Blu-ray. So from my point of view, I do think there is a place for Blu-ray and DVD still. Some of you may be thinking, no, you know, I've sold all my DVDs, I've sold all my Blu-rays, and I'm just focusing on the 4K now. You know, and that's absolutely perfectly fine. I guess you're in a position where you're probably looking for maybe some of the collector's editions if you're that kind of collector, or you might just prefer to pick up all the Amaray versions of the 4Ks. Again, it all depends on the type of collector that you are. Depends on, you know, do you like the sort of alternate artwork, postcards, booklets, this kind of thing. You know, they did do it with all the formats, even VHS. You know, I've got the Facehugger box, which was the first 3 Alien films, and coming with some lobby cards and a book. We didn't get many of those back in the day, but they did do some of these collector's editions for VHS, and they carried it on with DVD and, you know, to an extent Blu-ray as well. Before 4K came along, Arrow were starting to do some of these collector's editions. They would bring out the Blu-ray first, and then 6 months later they would then bring out the 4K version of it as well. And I think that kind of was a bit of a sort of, yeah, people felt a bit sort of cheated by that, and like, oh, you know, I've just bought the Blu-ray of this and now you're bringing out the 4K 6 months later. I think Arrow have addressed that. They're now bringing out Blu-ray and 4K. I don't know whether all the boutique labels are doing that, But I do know there's some boutique labels that are just focusing on the Blu-rays, like 101 Films. There's several of them, but you've got other boutique labels like Kino Lorber and Second Sight, Vinegar Syndrome, that are now producing these collector's editions in 4K. But they're including the Blu-ray in there as well. So I guess you've got the flexibility to be able to still play the Blu-ray if you're a Blu-ray collector, if you haven't upgraded yet. But ultimately, a lot of this is geared towards the 4K. So in answer to my question, do we still need to collect DVD and Blu-ray? I would say yes. Depending on your circumstances, what you want to get out of collecting, the types of editions that you want to collect, there's a market for, even still for VHS actually, and Laserdisc. Yeah, let's encompass all the different formats throughout the years. They're still relevant for people. You can still get the players, I believe, for Laserdisc, or not so much. VHS players you still can find. I have two myself. I don't tend to play VHS, but I do believe HMV have recently announced some VHS pre-orders. So there's obviously, they feel there's a market for the retro, formats, shall we say. So yeah, certainly I think there's a place for all formats still within collecting. And yeah, let's celebrate it. Let's keep showing what we've got. Don't think, oh, I'm behind with the times. I can only afford DVD. It's great that anyone can collect whatever they want now. At different price points, depending on your circumstances. Like I say, you can pick up some great little editions for next to nothing. Search on eBay. Music Magpie is a great place to look in the UK. World of Books, that's another one. You can often find some really sort of good bargains on DVD and Blu-ray. Not so much 4K, but even now we're seeing 4Ks in places like HMV for sort of 2 for 30 or 2 for 25. You can also find the Amazon Italy, Germany. You can find DVDs and Blu-rays and even 4Ks for sometimes a lot cheaper than you can in the UK. So yeah, let's keep collecting, let's keep celebrating all of these formats, and let's keep physical media alive. So hope you enjoyed that ramble. Yeah, it's just me just sort of sitting down, turning the camera on, and just talking about physical media and the discussions that we can have. So if you'd like to continue the conversation, stick down in the comments what you think about this subject. Is there still room for DVD and Blu-ray in your collecting, or are you just focused on 4K? Or are you still really interested in picking up VHS? There seems to be a bit of a revival of that of late in the last year. And even Laserdisc. There's still collectors of Laserdiscs. Again, some of those can be quite cheap. Some not so. Players are becoming a bit more scarce, I guess. I haven't delved into that myself. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down below. Please give the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. It tells YouTube that you like these sorts of videos, and that encourages me to try and sort of think of new ideas, different discussions for you to listen to, and then sort of, let's engage in the comments. If you're new here, why not consider subscribing to the channel? Hit the subscribe button down below. Come and join the channel. Got a wealth of playlists on there, chats, podcasts about this sort of thing, all types of subjects about collecting. Go and browse at your leisure. I've got reviews, unboxings, all this sort of stuff that you see in here, all on the channel. Even 3D as well. I'm still quite interested in the 3D format. Again, that's a sort of a dying format, I guess. and maybe I'll do a video on that, talking about 3D. Yeah, that might be one to discuss. So yeah, right, well, that's the end of the video, guys. Take care and see you next time. Bye now.